high levels of poverty,
unemployment,
stigma and discrimination,
gender-based violence,
sexual harassment,
early marriages and pregnancies,
drug abuse,
leadership and governance.
These are some of the pressing issues affecting our communities.
Raise your voice and speak up because you are the solution.
And by working together, we can create locally driven solutions that can transform our society and the world. Be a voice of change today.
Impact Show, the voice of change.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Impact Show. I'm your host. My name is Nyirenda. And today on the Impact Show, I'm joined by a very brilliant young man who is an author of many books that I'll let him talk about. And his name is Brilliant Nelson Nyirenda. He's as brilliant as his name sounds. Mr. Nyirenda, welcome to the Impact Show. Good to have you. I'm empowered already even before talking to you. How have you been, sir?
I've been all right. Good to have me. Thank you very much.
Now, I should give you a little bit background. Mr. Nelson is actually a law student. So already we are in the same line of what I want to do later on in life. 4 books that you've written. That's a mammoth task. I felt right even one. I would write up to maybe half the book and then all ideas just blink off my head. What does it take to actually complete a book?
Well, what does it take to actually complete the book? I think before you even write the book, the first thing is the desire to educate something or to communicate something. So that on its own is something that comes and will give you the powerful desire within yourself to be able to communicate. And also to know the audience of the book that you want to write, because each book has got an audience. Each message is right for a particular audience. And for you to stand out and also attain the desire and the intention behind what you're trying to do, you ought to know the intended user of what you're doing. For example, if you look at water, it's for people that want to quench a thirst. If you look at food, for people that are hungry at the end of the day. So for you as well to have that impact, the reason why you're doing something should be very clear within yourself before you even actually do it. So what does it take therefore to write a book? It takes the desire within yourself, because there will never be a time that you're going to just sit and start writing your book. Everyone is busy trying to find the life out there. So it's all about you trying to have enough time management within yourself and also the desire that you're able to write about something. So you put down all your ideas, you put down everything that is there, and also ensure that what you're trying to write and communicate out there is something that is not easily accessible by people, because that is what is going to make you stand out. If I make reference to myself, all my books and non-fiction and all the things that are there actually are things that you cannot even just merely Google and find, because they are based on other people's experiences that I get to interview, have a chat with, and also be able to record, because every person has a story to tell, and that story to tell can protect or immunize someone from going through the things that they went through. So you have to know the audience of the books that you're able to write before you communicate the message, and then you can put down in writing for the people to be there. But above everything, the challenges that are involved, and you ought to prepare yourself as well for those challenges at the end of the day.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, one of my favorite comedians said something which is very true. I hate the fact that it was a comedian who said it, but it is very true. He said, if you want to hide something from an African, put it in a book. If you want to hide something from a white person, just put it in marriage. We are not good at reading. And there's truth in that saying. You read a book called There Is Hope. Is there hope for an Africa culture that one day we enjoy reading?
Well, actually, there is hope. First, before I even get to answer the question, is a book that I decided to write at a time when we had COVID. And this book actually had a foreword done by the ambassador to America now, Mr. Chibamba Kanyama, Ambassador Chibamba Kanyama. We had worked together on this particular project. He did the foreword, and I did the publishing as well as everything that is there. So now what? On the things that were there during COVID, because I believe the time will come when we're all going to expire, there will be more people to take over, and they will read the works that we have, just like we're able to look at the works of other people. So therefore, at the end of the day, when you speak about culture culture is a good thing and there is hope for it, except now we're allowing ourselves to be testers or to be examples of the things that people are trying to, bring in as an invention. But at the end of the day, we're the people to protect ourselves, and we're the ones to stick to what we have always been doing, except that technology comes with other things as well. It comes with a lot of change, and one of the great people said change is an arrival of the future in the present, and we cannot say no to it. But regardless of that, we ought to be conscious of right and wrong, and that right and wrong can only come when we have a sober mindset as people living in Zambia, because come on, the state of a country depends on the people that are living in that particular country. And so if we're to find a situation of culture fading away, the people to blame are the people living in the country where the country is no longer having culture being respected. At the end of the day, despite having this culture, we ought to have the elders ensuring that this culture is always maintained within the people that are coming up, because as people grow up, they grow up to the exposures that are currently present at the time they are growing up. But the people that have gone ahead of them are the ones that are supposed to ensure that certain cultures are shared with them and they get to know where they're coming from. Because if you tell me where I'm coming from, I'll be able to understand the importance of where I'm coming from, where I am. But why you don't tell me where I'm coming from, I'll just say, it does no longer apply. But when you tell me the importance of where I'm coming from and how it helped me to reach where I am, as well as the people that I'm submitting to, I will see the importance of where I'm coming from.
Okay, interesting. Now, I love how you brought out two very key words, actually in the answer you've given me. One of them is, social media, the effect of social media. You talked about it in a little bit. And the other one is culture. Your second book is My Daily Self-Development. I want to find out from you, from this book's perspective of My Daily Self-Development, what do you think is the effect of social media on our Zambian culture? And how best can we use social media to be self-developed in the right way?
Well, you have spoken like a prophet, because actually the book My Daily Self-Development, which I did with Reverend Dr. Walu or Pastor Walu, there's actually a chapter called peer pressure. And the peer pressure chapter actually tackles two types of peer pressure. There's positive peer pressure as well as negative peer pressure. Now, the negative peer pressure is where I'm able to do something because I'm seeing you do it and it's affecting me wrongly. On the other hand, we have the positive peer pressure, and that is the peer pressure that's going to help me become better as a person. Now, when we marry peer pressure to social media and us becoming judges, we have to understand that every person is supposed to take charge of their own life. And at the same time, the Bible clearly indicates that what man thinketh, he becomes. So what we invest in ourselves is what is going to determine what we're able to become as people. At the same time, if therefore I copy what you're doing out of peer pressure, I'm trying to live your life and saying no to myself. But before we say yes to other people, we ought to say yes to ourselves. Because if I try to do things to please other people, what will happen in my life after those other people have gone? What is going to happen? So at the end of the day, we ought to know that every person has got a destiny. And that destiny they have has got a particular way in which they have to live their own lives for them to activate that destiny that God has put in every one of us. And one thing I should also indicate is that whether one decides to be poor or not, I've used the word decision because everyone has got the power to make their lives better. When God was creating man, he had put all the things that were required in that particular man, in me, in you. And it's all about me and you to discover ourselves, our talents, our gifts, and be able to know the audience of the things that we're able to offer and also be able to stick to that. So when it comes to social media and us, the people responding to it, we ought to use it rightly. Social media is there without anyone teaching us how to use it. It's all about us. I'll be seated alone and I'll have pop-ups of messages, of adverts and everything. It's up to me to decide what I do with those things. So at the end of the day, there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of people, and such as people like you, so that we get to know about the impact show through the social media itself, and we see other people that are doing other things. The same social media is able to educate one positively, it's also able to educate one negatively. And above everything, I think I need to put it on record as well that we ought to also ensure that the people that we follow on our social media platforms are people that are going to help us become the people that we want to become. Because at the end of the day, the people that I spend my time on, the people that I follow, will also have an impact on me as a person. And let's also know that even those people that are out there giving us the peer pressure because they are celebrities and everything, let's understand that for them to want to push numbers and at the end of the day allow people to pay them for them to publish adverts means they also want to earn a living. So let's not be moved by such people, but instead work on ourselves as people and live the lives that we desire.
I want to be honest, talking to you on the Impact Show makes me interviewing you like very easy. I'm enjoying because it's very easy to communicate to you. You're speaking of things that I'm actually about to ask you. So my next question is, you've written a book called Life with a Second Part, and the fourth book is Rise Up. And you were talking about peer pressure and the decision that somebody has. So let's be in this situation. Somebody had peer pressure, they made the wrong decision. They are at their worst. From your book, if somebody reads the book, Life with a Second Part and Rise Up, is that going to inspire them to make them believe in themselves to say, even though I've done this, even though I failed due to peer pressure, even though I made that wrong decision, but because of these 2 books, they have really helped me grow up?
Well, actually, Rise Up is a book that has been written for that particular purpose, to help someone that's been hit on the ground by life and they decide to become, because you also understand one thing, when you plant a seed, for it to start growing, next it will have to come up on the ground, then the process of growth will begin through the process of photosynthesis. The sunlight will be there and everything will flow. In the same manner, as a human being, when life hits us underground, we want to come up and also have that direct sunlight that is going to help us become better as people. So when we say rise up, it's simply meaning that someone has done the contrary. They've fallen and now they need to rise up. So how are they going to rise up? By realizing that life, as long as they have it, there is hope for them to become better people. And at the end of the day, it's not about the people that are around, it's about the people that you invest in yourself, the people that you're going to follow, the information that you're going to have as a person, as well as what you decide to say, because there are people that were down and they have risen. For example, myself, there was a time I was hit by life. And the time that I was hit by life, it was 2 days before my exam. Someone stole my laptop, someone stole my books, someone stole the whole bag. And I was actually about to write my exam. And that was total failure because everything that I had, I was making my own notes. But regardless of that, I didn't fail. And if I show you my results, I actually got merits and distinctions because I chose not to be affected by that. So at the end of the day, everyone is a judge of their own lives and they should decide to judge their lives in a better way. When you read Life with the Second Party itself, Life with the Second Party, this is basically about a guide to ask the young people. Now, how did we come about with this particular book? This particular book came about because I had different conversations with my fellow young people, that were giving me various positions on age, dating, being single and every other thing and all. So what I did was I interviewed young people. I also interviewed older people, those that are in marriage, those that have celebrated their marriage, those that we see have got successful stories with their partners. And I decided to put that in writing and also put it out there as a guide to the people, because if I have the results that I'm able to see on your life, it's not wrong for me to learn from the process that you went through at the end of it, because I know it helped you to be successful, so automatically it won't guide me wrongly. So at the end of the day, everyone can rise up, and as long as we have life, there is hope for us to better our lives. And when we better our lives, all the people that are supposed to benefit from us are going to be better. And I should mention, as I would say, every person that has been born has got people that should benefit from their development. So if they don't develop, they also shatter the lives of the people that are supposed to develop from them. And at the end of the day, life is how we make it. So let's not hear everything at the end of the day from people that are thinking it is impossible, because it is impossible with them. But scripture guides us that with God all things are possible. So when we have the one that makes all things possible, we can make all things possible in life.
Okay, well, unfortunately time is not our best ally. Mr. Teddy behind the camera is giving me that eye. So Mr. Brilliant, thank you very much for coming on the show. And I know there's somebody out there who is like me, highly willing to talk to you in detail. So if they want to get hold of that book, because I know these thoughts are in those 4 books, how can they contact you and how can they grab a copy of those books?
Well, if someone wants to reach me, Facebook itself, Brilliant Nelson Nyirenda is my username, and by contact, it's 0976 664276. So 0976 664276, and I have no agents actually apart from my publishing company. So anyone that would actually impersonate, which is becoming common now through the scammers that we're having, that will be scamming, and I won't take responsibility.
Okay, well, on that note, we come to the end of this episode. Is Impact Show. I've been your host. My name is Gavinda Galimina, and I've been speaking to Mr. Brilliant Nelson Nyirenda. It's goodbye for now. Have a pleasant day.